Warm greetings on behalf of Hindustan College of Engineering and Technology. I am Uma, Assistant Professor from Department of IT. We are going to have an overview on the types of machine learning in this video. Come, let us start. Let us look into the types of machine learning. Before going to the types, let us see why it is so important to categorize the machine learning. Machine learning deals with big data for business operations using some strategic steps, and it requires a lot of resources to analyze the data. That is impossible for a human to do in a single attempt. Human needs huge amount of time to categorize the data or to classify the big data. Therefore, it is important to understand why do we need to categorize this machine learning. What we want the ML, that is the machine learning, to do for your particular business. Whether you want to categorize, whether you want to do classification, or whether you want to do prediction or extraction. What kind of output this machine learning is going to bring? That is another question. For this set of questions, we need to go for categorizing the machine. Machine learning is a domain with its base in computational mathematics and statistics, as we all know. It will have tons of data, as I said, and based upon this big data, it learns on its own to do future prediction, to recognize a new pattern, or even suggest with two different classes of data. A basic understanding of these different types of algorithms will help us to choose an algorithm for the betterment of your project implementation. So let us look into the types of ML in the future slides. Coming to the types of machine learning, it has been broadly classified into three different areas. One is the supervised learning, the second is said to be the unsupervised learning, and the third is said to be an interesting one, reinforcement learning. Let us see each and every type of machine learning in detail with an example. Let us see the first type of machine learning, that is supervised learning. In supervised learning, models are trained using labeled dataset, where the model learns about each type of data. Once the training process is completed, the model is tested on the basis of the test data, and then it predicts the output. The trained data acts as a supervisor that teaches the machine to predict the output correctly. Example, it is like the concept as a student learns in the supervision of a teacher. Say, for example, your friend gave you 1000 coins of three different currencies. Say rupee 1, 1 euro, 1 dirham. Here each coin have different weight and shape. Here weight and shape are said to be the features of the dataset. Rupee, euro, dirham, that is the currency, are said to be the label of the dataset. Now you feed these features and label to a machine. Thereby, the machine will associate the corresponding features and labels of the dataset. This is how a machine learning system is trained. For example, if a coin weighs 3 gram, that is said to be a rupee coin. If it weighs 7 gram, it is said to be an euro. If it weighs 4 gram, then it is said to be a dirham. Now, the machine is well trained to categorize the type of coin. Let us see how it is going to test the data. If a new data or any one data among these data set is given, let us see how it is going to be tested in the second phase. Now, let us give a coin to the machine which is of 3 grams. Now, the model will predict the currency of the coin. The machine uses the labeled data to predict the model. Here, the machine knows the feature and the label associated to it. So the system predicts that it is a rupee. Hope you understood the first example of supervised learning. Moving on to the second example, I have a set of images of different shapes and I have labeled it with different names like hexagon, triangle, and square. The image dataset and the label are given to a machine to get it trained by itself. This is said to be model training. Now, I would like to test the machine with the test data. I am giving two different images like square and triangle. Now, I am asking my machine to predict itself. It will predict it as square and triangle. This is said to be supervised learning. I'll have a set of data and I will label it accordingly based upon the labels and the image data sets. I will train the machine. Then if I want to predict it, it will predict me the output with the set of labels. If I am giving a different image like a pentagon, will it able to predict? This is what the major question under supervised learning. So we go for the next method called unsupervised learning, wherein we don't have any labeling feature. It is said to be a type of unlabeled learning or unsupervised. Moving on to the next type of machine learning, that is unsupervised learning. It is a machine learning technique which is modeled using unlabeled techniques. It is not supervised using training data sets. As how we have some training data sets in the supervised model, we don't have such training data sets here. We will feed the machine with set of data. The machine itself has to find the differences between each and every data. Then it will categorize among the data set. That is what they are saying. Instead, a model itself find the hidden patterns and insights from the given data. It is something like learning which takes place in the human brain while learning new things. Moving on to the example of unsupervised learning. Here I have a set of data with name and the scores, runs and the wickets earned by the cricketers. This unlabeled data, the raw data, is given to a machine. Now the machine would like to categorize the data set based upon few categorization, few perspective. It categorizes into two different axes, said to be wickets and runs. Those who have scored more runs are said to be the batsmen, and those who scored more number of wickets are said to be the bowlers. Here, what the unsupervised learning tells us is, the machine is fed with the raw data. It is given to a machine. The machine, by following few models or mathematical models or some algorithms, it will categorize the data into different categories. Here the categories are based upon the runs and the wickets. If they score more runs, they are said to be batsmen. If they score more wickets, they are said to be the bowlers. So this is said to be no labeled data type, said to be unsupervised learning. Hope you have understood this example. Let us look into the next example of. Let us move on to the second example of unsupervised learning. Here I have the input raw data with set of images that is given to a machine for interpretation. Using some algorithms or some analysis like the size of the image, the color of the image, the eyes of this animal, nose of this animal, tail of an animal, like that, the algorithm will get processed or the model will get practiced, and it is processed during the training phase. And among the given raw data, it has been categorized into two different set of images like dogs and cats. This is said to be the output of the prediction model. I don't have any specific label for this raw data. The raw data is merely given to the machine. It processes on its own based upon few algorithms. Then it will categorize the input into different categories. This is said to be unsupervised learning. Moving on to the next type, said to be reinforced learning, one of the interesting one rather than supervised. And the third type is said to be the reinforcement learning. It is an ability of an agent to interact with the environment and find out what is the best outcome. Here we have three entities said to be the agent, environment, and the outcome. It follows the concept of hit and trial method. The agent is rewarded for the correct answer with positive points, or it is penalized with a point of wrong answer. Based on this, the model will train itself. Once trained, it will get ready to predict the new data presented to it. It is like a child which gets practiced from its supervisor or from its mother or father by getting rewards and penalties from their parents. The example of reinforcement learning is given in this slide. I am feeding the machine with an image of a dog. Now I'd like to predict the output from the machine. The machine is saying it is an image of cat. Obviously, it is a wrong output. Now the machine is given with a penalty. It shows that it has predicted the wrong output. Then it will be trained again with the features of the input data. This is said to be the agent, this is said to be the environment, and this is said to be the output. Said to be the three different entities of reinforcement learning. Based upon the wrong output of the model, it will retrain it again for the prediction. This slide shows you the answer of the reinforcement learning model. And now I am feeding the machine with another image of dog. It is predicting with the given input and it says it is a dog. Now it is get rewarded that even if I give an image like this or even like this, then that is said to be a dog. Now what happens? The machine learn on its own based upon the output predicts earlier, based upon the rewards and penalty which it earns earlier. It trains on its own and at last it will predict the correct output. Reinforcement learning needs more training data than the supervised and unsupervised learning in order to predict the correct output. These are all said to be the three different types of machine learning, said to be supervised, unsupervised, and reinforcement. Hope you all enjoyed the session by learning the three different types of machine learning in today's world. Thank you for your patience listening. Thank you.